Right. All right, we'll call the meeting to order.
Okay, we have Megan Harmon. Yeah, Robert Hickox. Richard Kelly. Diane Law.
Yeah.
Michael Moore.
Here.
Okay, there's a quorum, so we will start, and if Dick comes, then we can bring him up to speed. Next is, on the agenda is a public comment. Comments from the Churchill Borough residents, taxpayers, up to 3 minutes each. If you have anything to say, please state your full name and your street address. And come on up and say something. Okay, that'll conclude our public comment section. The next are the action items. The first is considering accepting the meeting minutes from the February 7th, 2024 Planning Commission meeting, which was the last meeting we had.
Madam President, I move to accept the planning commission meetings from February 7th, 2024.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that, yes.
Okay, thank you. So they are accepted. Next on the agenda is the motion recommending the approval or denial of the land development application by Woodland Hills School District for the high school multi-purpose athletic field conversion. Is there somebody here to present on that?
You want me to?
Yeah, come on up and just, we're not that formal. Just state your name and.
Hi, I'm Jason Makoviak. I'm with Young and Associates and Engineers.
Okay.
We're the, we actually designed the plans for this facility.
Okay. And this is for the field up front?
Yeah, there's a field right off of Greensburg Pike, existing field. There's two, there's a softball field and a baseball field. The intent of the school district is to basically regrade the field, flatten it out enough to put our synthetic turf on the field, just because the playability right now for drainage is very poor, and it's not very useful, especially during when they need it, when school's still in session. So that's the gist of the project, is to really regrade, a portion of that, take that fill that's taken off that field and construct some track throwing events on the same property just across the entrance drive, because I think now they bus athletes to another location.
Correct.
So it would cut down on transportation cost and logistics, so to keep everything on campus proper. The dugouts for the baseball field would remain as is. And then the softball side, which is the opposite corner, they would be reconstructed. Same setup. Everything's pretty much the same. It's just basically a regrading project. We are gonna add some ADA parking. There's a little gravel parking lot there now off of Braddock Road, that's fenced.
Mhm.
That they want to make some ADA parking, because they do get some spectators for baseball and softball games. I don't think it's heavily used, not like football, but nonetheless, basically make the facility ADA accessible by installing those parking spaces and some sidewalks around the field. That also, I think synthetic turf will also take care of some wildlife nuisance.
Yeah,
with the geese.
Problem,
So it's kind of an unplayable facility right now. So, from a maintenance standpoint, it's gonna be more useful to the school. And then obviously, I don't know if you looked at the plans, but it's gonna be striped for multi-purpose for practice. The field's not intended to be lit. It's just gonna be used for daytime activities, I guess after school practice. Those types of things, probably weekend practices, but it's not intended to be used at night. And then any other parking would be utilized from the school. There's still access from the actual school parking lot up to the facility. We do have an NPDES permit in at the Allegheny County Conservation District. We've been through, I think, 2 rounds of comments right now, so we're expecting to get that permit, potentially this week or next week. We pretty much addressed all their concerns. I did submit the, stormwater report and plans to Fort Hillsborough, because we are gonna discharge into their, catch basin, which currently the field now, the under drains on the baseball field do discharge to the same catch basin. So we're not changing the discharge point, but we're actually gonna put some control structure on storage, underground storage and control on the actual stormwater. Right now, it's just piped into the system, so we will be sending less stormwater to their system. And then that catch basin actually, you have to look at the plans, but it discharges back onto the school district property before it goes into, there's an unnamed tributary in the valley that's just below the fields there.
Okay,
So,
so the uses will be the same, you'll still have baseball, softball,
yes,
plus this additional,
Yeah.
Soccer and the football field for the band to practice and extra soccer practice.
yes,
oh, okay.
multi-purpose, facility. And it's still gonna be fenced, even the parking lot's gonna be fenced, gated. It is now, so it's still gonna be, everything will be fenced from a security standpoint.
Everything will be by permit only with exception to the district, usage within, high school varsity soccer, band, marching band, baseball and softball.
How high is the fence?
The perimeter fence will be 6 foot on the proper perimeter fence, and then obviously the backstops are gonna be a little higher. They have a ball stopper that'll be reinstalled for the softball. There's already one there, for the baseball, so that's gonna remain.
How high is the fence now?
I think it's 6, yeah.
Is it currently being used for baseball?
No, it's not even being used for anything because it failed the G-Max test. Which is, the absorption of the turf, if there was a proposed fall or twist of a knee and ankle. So that's one reason that we got it pushed through our school board. By down and failed the G-Max. Last year, we had to bus all our children out to Penn Trafford to play at All-American. And our junior high played at Memorial Field. Swissvale was gracious enough to let us use that for our junior high baseball and softball.
Sir, can we get your name for the record? Just
My name is Dan Bridge, and I'm the facilities director.
thank you.
Thank you.
So there's a perimeter fence right around the walkway that's around the new field, but then there's you're replacing the fence that's closer to the road. There's like-
Portion of the fence, yes, to regrade. So it's kind of a two fence system there. Portion of that fence will really secure the entire facility.
Is that the one that's 6 foot high? Because it just says new chain link.
Yeah.
To match existing.
Yes, that's one of the comments that was on the letter that we need to label the height of the fence.
You got the engineering letter already?
We did,
Okay.
yes, sir.
Okay. How high are the dugouts, the new dugouts to replace the ones, the softball in?
They're probably an 8-foot eve on there. And I don't have the exact dimension, but it's gonna match the existing.
I didn't see any details for their construction. Is that forthcoming?
We can send details on the.
So there's not too many trees going back in here.
Another question.
There's less, well, of course, the new ones are always smaller than the old ones. Not that the
Yeah.
old ones, those big locusts aren't the prettiest trees in the world, but
Yeah. So one of the reasons, synthetic turf, it'll be a maintenance issue to try to get that, keep the leaves, especially with the height of those existing trees. The field's obviously not gonna be a cheap, endeavor for the school district. It definitely creates a maintenance issue to have leaves piling up on that synthetic turf, to try to clean it off with the crown rubber infill. Plus, we're regrading that hillside. We needed to, regrade into that hillside a little bit to flatten it.
Yeah, I don't know, I could see more trees along Greensburg Pike on the hillside. Maybe some more of those white pines that'll blow leaves all over the place as much.
Okay.
That's always an option for sure, and then it's also windbreak for snow drifts and what.
Yeah, cause I remember the old days when you put up a snow fence,
Oh, yeah.
those drifts across Greensburg Pike, the white pines
Cross
would help
Hill
with that.
Churchill Elementary.
And soil, when you take trees out, you know, what you're doing is allowing more stormwater flow. And what you're doing is allowing, you know, there's no, when the roots aren't there any longer to hold the water, then it's a problem. Also, I have to say, we've been working with the Woodland Hills School District for the last, how many every years?
It's nineteen
With
eighty-one.
Tree Pittsburgh, to try to plant trees on school
We got a
property.
bunch of them planted in recent times.
And, you know, I think it's important to look at the criteria we have for removing trees. And I haven't heard you say that, removing these trees is necessary in order to put a new surface on the property.
We could leave trees and we'll just have to clean the leaves up.
That's what everybody else has to do.
Yeah, we'd have to change the grading plan
Would you?
to keep, just because we're cutting into that hillside.
Okay,
You know, when you grade into the root zone, the drip,
that's another thing. I mean,
Yeah, the drip
if
line.
what you're saying is that you can't install.
yeah, I think it will be detrimental to the longevity of the trees. You know, when you have a mature tree like that, the feeder roots are out of the drip line.
Okay.
Which is at the edge of the crown of the canopy.
Okay,
And once you get into those fine roots, those are all the feeder roots. That could potentially be detrimental to their health. And it would be better if you would like us to plant new trees, it would be better to plant new after regrading the hillside.
well, I think that evergreens is a good idea,
Okay,
you know, for a number of reasons.
yeah, we did add, there's some trees around the new parking lot.
Yeah,
And there's also, you know, a screen that's on the upper side near the Pace School.
mhm,
There's an evergreen.
Yeah.
And part of that was, done for stormwater.
right,
So we take credit for that on
Yeah.
our plan
yeah,
for the stormwater.
good, because stormwater is always a huge concern.
Yes.
You've got a good grade going there,
Mhm.
you know.
The new pines along Greensburg Pike on the Pace side aren't shown on your drawing. And,
I think they're on the stormwater drawing on the,
I didn't see.
I think it may sheet in the 8 series sheet. 8.2, maybe 8.1. Oh, no, there's that right here. Yeah.
8.7,
Maybe.
okay, it mostly shows the plantings on the Braddock Avenue side.
Mhm.
8.8. If you go on 8.8, there's a detail of the stormwater, there's 10, white pine,
Yeah,
plan view number 2.
yeah, 8.8. And then,
And then on the Braddock side, road side, it's on plan view 1. There's some new, honey locust here. It'll be the street keeper honey locust. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yeah, there's a lot of nice plantings around the rain garden. You get some best management practices
Yeah.
there, yeah. But it seems like some of the older, regular locusts, black locusts, aren't really are too close. If there's any that you can, with their canopies that are clear of your new grading, that would be great to keep them on the side, on the corner of the entrance opposite their sign. That doesn't look like anything's gonna be in the way of keeping those there.
Okay.
So wherever we can, keep them. And yet, at the far end of the javelin field, there's those new evergreens you planted that don't show up yet.
Yeah, I think most of those are gonna stay that are along Greensburg Pike.
Tailgate place.
Yeah, we're not gonna touch the newer plantings
Okay,
up there.
good to know, just, it wasn't drawn, so I was wondering.
Yeah,
I mean, with everything that the Woodland Hills School District has been doing, the three Pittsburgh and three committees and so on. If you can, I think it's to your benefit, you know, to not. Not speaking as a planning committee, I'm just saying to you that I think that's
right,
an act that will be appreciated by people.
okay, yeah, we can,
Absolutely make that happen. They're
Yeah.
always hitting me up and hitting the district up about one plant more tree, so. I'll welcome them with open arms.
It's been a wonderful partnership, we're very happy with it.
The engineering letter, I think, mentioned that some, parking lot lighting was gonna be required.
so, yeah, that's,
I'm not gonna light the fields, so there's not gonna be any after dark activities. It's gonna be within the fence compound, so we're not gonna light the park.
What about security in that area at night?
Well, it'll all be in a fenced in compound with gated locks.
Is there gonna be a requirement for any kind of temporary, toilet facilities, some, porta johns or anything like that?
For what kind of facilities? I'm sorry.
Toilet facilities,
Yes, but for what use?
porta johns.
But for what use?
Well, you,
For the games?
yeah.
There always has been in the past. We rent from Mr. John.
Mhm,
Yeah, there's been porta johns on the baseball field and the softball field
mhm.
that are maintained weekly with, that has a ratio of how many people per week can utilize that. Yes, absolutely. They'll be
So
porta-
maybe at the, I'm not sure where,
Well,
top end of the parking lot there?
I guess the parking lot, basically where the most convenient layout is to it, probably at least a handicap on one side and a handicap on the other side, and then two regular ones, so at least 4 units at all
Yeah.
times during peak season.
yeah, we definitely have, space that is gonna be situated.
Yeah, I don't know, I could see stretching that down a little bit to give a little bit of backing out room for that last stall, but yeah, that's what I imagined you would put on my, there was no discussion of that,
It's basically a kind of like, hey, that looks like the best spot, we should put one there. This is the most accessible for handicap people, we should put the handicap one
Yeah.
here, so on.
okay, good.
Do you expect any impact, like during the games and things, any impact on the traffic on Greensburg Pike?
Not during like our varsity baseball or softball, very minimal spectators, but if we would, you know. Let people lease it or rent it off us for like a big showcase weekend, there could be a little bit of impact on traffic, but the way they kind of revolve in and out, it's just like a big wrestling tournament down over the hill. That parking lot's full to the gills, and or musical, of course. There's minimal impact really, the way people come and go, musical probably more so than a wrestling tournament, because when your kid loses, you don't want to watch wrestling anymore, you leave, you know? So, I mean, we've hosted countless amounts of events. I graduated from there in '89, my dad graduated there from '67. Been working there for 25 years, I grew up in Forest Hills.
Mhm.
Don't hold it against.
So, is there gonna be like a walkway up to the javelin throwing area of that new hill you're making?
There's no paved walkway up to that, it's just, it's all just grass.
Yeah, I presume there was all grass planting around it, didn't really say one way or the other, that I could find. But I don't know if it was, I guess it's not really steep enough for steps.
I think, no, well, steps would be. To get steps up to that elevation would be, challenging.
Yeah,
I think the best. Way to use that is to use the existing sidewalk, up there, entrance drive. And, head up towards the sign,
mhm.
and then, I don't know how much.
No, we probably have one shot put, couple discus, couple javelin. It's not a huge sport, but we have some outstanding student athletes in those.
Yeah,
We've taken home different medals within the state.
What about ADA accessibility for those fields?
I don't know that that's gonna be intended for spectators. is it?
Even at Wilkins where they were doing it, behind the old junior high there, there was no ADA, I don't know how many spectators really come for those sports.
It's more about, federal requirements. It's not,
Yeah,
I'd hate to see you do this and then have someone come along and say you just to vote on it. We have,
we can take a look at that.
yeah, I mean, the school has requirements. And I would check if I were you to see to it that you don't get broadsided on that.
since it's new construction. I can think of some other areas that there's never been any ADA real accessibility in some of our older buildings and
That's true
facilities.
everywhere, yeah,
Yeah.
just wait till somebody knows.
But now it's new construction, yeah, we might need
Right.
to visit that for sure. Thank you for that advice.
Yep.
Any other questions?
Is a 4-foot fence high enough to keep the discuses?
So that 4-foot fence is really so someone doesn't run or kind of walk down over that. It's not, if you look at the throwing sectors that are on there, on the plan.
Yeah.
You're well within the throwing sector as far as any kind of danger.
They never hook or shot.
Whenever Wilkins, we have to put the construction fence out in like a V to keep anybody from crossing the javelin, obviously. Chocolate, you're getting away with that. Shame on you, but
Yeah. And I think too, you'd have to consider, I mean, I know they have some good athletes. But you gotta consider. The throwing events shown here are universal. That would be even for like a World Cup athlete in the Olympics.
we're not throwing that far.
Again, I'm not trying to, I mean, we are dealing with, school age. So if you look at, and I actually went back and looked at records for javelin. And they still don't really come close to even the end of the throwing sector shown. So I think historically, if you look back at state records and championships for all of it.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
I've not really been a spectator for any of that, so. So the site's, the cut and fill is balanced?
It's, on paper, it's balanced, it's pretty close, but as you know, when you go out there and start excavating, there's gonna be some differential swell factor, and then trying to get it compacted back to what we have shown on the plans. We're as close as we can get it. We usually try to get it within a couple of percent on paper. And at that point, we're done driving ourselves nuts because you move an elevation 6 inches and then it's off the other way, so.
That sidewalk all the way around the perimeter is concrete?
Yes.
And you said there's no new lighting putting up, because we have some neighbors across the street.
I know Larry, that's why.
They're already well illuminated.
Like,
Yeah, okay.
Well, I don't have any more questions.
I don't either.
So if the letter referenced the lighting and it referenced a section in the zoning ordinance, would we have to apply for a variance for that?
You're not putting it in.
No, but I'm just saying, it says that if you build parking, you have to put lighting.
Should have safety lighting,
Yep.
but I would think that they would be able to just state that because it will be closed off and not permitted to be accessed at night.
Language of the provision, I mean, it seems like a pointless,
Yeah,
exercise.
yeah,
You
it
could find a
it
way
was
around
just
it.
if it was accessible, you wouldn't want cars parking there and without
Yeah,
lighting.
right, because it
But it's
references.
entirely closed off and there's adequate signage.
Yeah, it references like foot candles, required foot candles for.
And that was just a simple response on the foot candles for the field, that you're not lighting the field, I think is adequate.
Okay. I just wanna make sure we.
But you know, just because the ordinance does state for parking, you are required to have safety lighting. Solicitor will be able to kind of speak to that, whether or not it's required for a variance, or if that can be addressed by,
That's
So
existing,
30422, what's the subsection? Is it, the off-street parking subsection then? Three oh four 25, thanks. Is the parking lot existing now?
It's gravel now, yes, it's not, you know, it's not a parking lot that's lined, it's just a gravel parking area.
But it's been used for parking over the years?
Yeah, there's a curb cut,
It has
yeah, there's
been
a
there,
curb
but
cut
it's
there.
within the entire compound, so it's gated off whenever there's no activities, and without lights on the field, you know, all but dead in the water, there's no activities gonna be on the field at night.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, I mean, the zoning requirement is pretty clear, but if it's an existing parking area and it's still gonna be a parking area, I would argue that, you know, it's a kind of an ongoing, it's not a new part of the development, yeah. Okay, that's good.
Okay,
So why don't we leave that as a kind of an ongoing, non-conforming use, component of it to keep you out of the ZHB process.
yep,
That's up by the corner.
Right across from Tank, somewhere to the top of Braddock Road.
yeah,
so where does the old synthetic turf go when it's, no longer have a light?
it's recycled,
It's recyclable?
yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, usually the contractor we'll be working with on this one, usually they'll take them and, put it in his warehouse and he'll donate them to certain other schools. But they're
Okay.
looking for like a piece for even inside the gymnasium for like a batting cage or something. I
Okay,
know that they'll stockpile that stuff a lot of times, so. And then the crumb rubber will get recycled, there's facilities that'll take it.
good.
So this whole field is really not being used at all right now?
Hasn't been used since Brian Johnson pulled out the G-Max card on the board to get it approved.
So the band will practice there?
The band will practice there, there's gonna be a football field in the middle,
Mhm.
integrated with the soccer field, so they won't be practicing on the hot asphalt in the back of the building. It'll be much better for, Bobby Carr and his whole team.
That'll be nice.
Any other questions? Comments?
Anything else, Dennis, the borough engineer wanted to cover with this review?
no, I think we covered kind of most everything. It was just, you know, verifying. You called it out as walls, but like you said, for the dugouts, just to make sure that there wasn't anything else kind of required for that.
Yeah.
Don't believe that there was anything else that was necessarily kind of keeping you from proceeding. The note regarding the state highway occupancy permit, I know you're not directly affecting, but we want that note on there regardless.
Could you send me an example of what?
I can do that. Well, and also the fact that it's the county highway, Greensburg, like it's county highway.
Yeah.
Kind of verification that there's, that there is no issue there, which we would not expect there to be an issue, but we want to see that on the plan.
Okay. And then the rest of the stuff on there, I mean, I looked through it, we can address.
Yeah,
some
most
of
of
the
it's just
typo.
little things.
Yeah, there was a
Kind
couple.
of getting corrected, and I don't believe, there wasn't anything that necessarily came across that would be a major impediment for the plan.
Yeah, I didn't see anything.
So in light of that, if the planning commission is satisfied, if we could do a motion, to recommend approval condition upon, I would say number one, compliance with the gateway review letter dated today or yesterday?
I just dated it for today.
Dated today, and then if there were, I think there was a discussion about some additional tree plantings that you were talking about. You
Yeah.
wanna add that as a condition as well, so I'll let you word that however you feel appropriate.
Who is it that the borough works with, the tree?
Tree Pittsburgh. And there's a group at the high school. That is, what's the name, the climate action plan.
Okay.
And they've been doing projects with all kinds of people in the area. Allegheny Land Trust, the church, around and on the grounds, planting trees, that are donated by Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
It's nice, thing, nice way for the school and the community there.
Yeah.
I'll absolutely reach out to them.
Yeah,
Yes, for sure.
pretty good.
Well, and there's, the question is, do you want to make that a condition of the
Um,
approval?
Well, more trees could be a condition. I don't know that they have
Right,
to.
that's what I'm saying.
I'd like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you, what would the language be?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
If they keep the existing trees along Greensburg Pike to the greatest extent possible. And add more along there and show the existing pine, evergreens on the other side of the driveway that aren't on the plan, so we know that they're gonna be there and stay there. That's not very eloquent language.
No, but it gets the point across.
All right, so it's conditioned upon the Gateway review letter dated November 6th. And I want to make sure I help actually with the minutes on this one.
And
And
maintenance existing trees.
maintaining the extent possible,
Well, practical.
to the extent practical, I like that even better. Trees on which side?
Greensburg Pike,
Pittsburgh Pike side of the property. And what was the other second part?
Showing the other trees on that.
yeah, the new, kind of pine trees, are they spruce or
White
what are
pine.
evergreen?
I think there's some white pine.
Yeah, evergreen trees on, the Javelin side along Greensburg Pike to remain,
That would
be
be
shown.
north side or that north or
I was kind of thinking to even have a comment that all existing trees are to be shown and
Yeah.
specifically indicated
Yeah,
to remain or to be removed. And the same statement of where possible to
Okay.
remain. Just right now, they're not even shown on the plan at all, so they need to be
they're on the
shown.
demolition plan, and some are shown as existing. And some are shown to be removed, but maybe we could keep some of those and show, the ones on the other side to remain.
So. So as a general condition, we could say, you want to maintain all existing trees to the extent practical.
Right.
And then was there an additional planting request that's part of the condition?
Yes, and to add some more,
evergreen.
white pines along Greensburg Pike.
Okay. Additional evergreen trees, do we have a number? Well, how much guidance do we want to give these folks? The more the better, obviously.
What's the goal? Screening, is the goal screening or is the goal,
Sucking up oxygen.
aesthetic or?
And obviously, you gotta be cognizant of not planting too many too close together, because we know what happens when
Yeah.
you do that.
Yeah,
Oh, best practices, we can just put it that way, right?
Say planting. For,
Do we have like a landscaping spec or something like that in Churchill?
I don't know that it specifies distance or proximity.
In accordance with best practices.
There will be trees where we're talking about that will remain there. And then trees added.
I don't know, another 10, 12?
So, yeah, I mean, that's a good point. We have to, again, back to the root zone of the mature trees.
Right.
I mean, we can't go in and plant new 5 or 6 foot evergreens in the root zones because that's gonna cause a problem for the existing trees. So I think it's gonna be where,
Best practice, well,
Yeah.
can we talk about replacing the number that are removed?
replacement in kind.
Yeah,
How
I
many
think,
are being removed?
I mean, I know evergreens are the best for your circumstances. But in terms of maintaining the tree canopy, it's a big effort, you know. The conifers don't do that,
Right, right.
so,
For the drawings gonna be revised,
yeah,
show the plans for the.
right.
It looks like you're taking out 20 trees along Greensburg Pike, by the baseball fields.
That's a lot,
I don't think there's 20 trees there.
But I mean, you drew.
but they're showing.
Well, we can leave a lot of those in, actually, that they're on. It's just the area that's being regraded,
Mm-hmm.
so realistically, I mean, we might only be removing 1, 2, 3, 8 trees at the most.
That's a lot better number.
Yeah, well. it's
So
fine,
we
but
can,
replace
we
it
can
with-
certainly put 8 trees back in.
With like trees.
Yeah, you might want to clarify the demolition plan. There's.
Yeah.
like,
General in nature.
Yeah, which ones are existing and which
Explicitly
ones are.
stating which ones to remain, which ones to be removed, and to replace, remove trees and kind.
Right.
So there's 8 there, and then there was some over at the Javelin area. There's a couple that are in the middle of that.
They're exactly. I don't agree.
Easy motion, right? All right, so here, I'm gonna give it a try, but, you know, we're gonna just do the best we can. So let me ask process wise, right, so. If we're getting a conditional recommendation of approval tonight, the next council meeting is next Tuesday. Is the intent that you're gonna have everything updated and resubmitted for review by the engineer and hoping for an approval on the 12th, or are we looking for a December approval, give you some additional cushion?
Well, we can try to do it by next Tuesday.
I mean, unless, I don't know how tight your timing is.
Well, we're busy, but we could probably,
Okay, well, so I think, because obviously, I think before council approves, they're gonna wanna see sort of these updated details.
so I guess we won't have, the only thing we won't have, we might not have NPDS. There's some things
So
on
there's gonna
there.
be things.
Yeah,
that are gonna
third party
be-
stuff is always conditional anyway, at
Yeah.
council, third party permitting, so that's not a big deal, it's just, yeah, I think they're gonna wanna see sort of the final plans. final
Yeah.
plans.
Part of the question is, if you don't get approval from council until December, is that going to impact your construction schedule?
Already in.
Well, it's impacted. The big thing's gonna be, I don't know when we're gonna get our NPDS.
Because you'll need that before construction regardless.
Yeah, so I guess the question I would have is, if we do get conditional approval on this and we revise the plans, is there a way that they could get started on just like a simple demo of the site? I mean, we know the turf, like start taking up the turf. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to do that's not a huge impact. It's taking up the turf, taking apart the dugout,
Yeah, I mean, there's a demo permit process that's,
yeah.
we're working, parallel with the rest of it, so.
Yeah.
You get the non-NPDES order study.
Yeah, no, yes, no earth disturbance, but we
Right.
can take down some fencing that we need to, because eventually that's gotta come down and that can impede, that can help the process by the time we get back to the council.
So you're saying, but you still would need the council approval to get started with that, with the work you're describing now. So anyway, I think what you're telling us is you think you want to push to try to get it on the agenda for approval on.
Yeah, it would be nice to, if we could. and
Okay.
Get them approval.
I mean, listen, the worst case scenario, you're not ready for next Tuesday and it just gets kicked.
Right.
And the council has 2 voting meetings in December, the first Monday and the second Monday.
Okay,
So it's not that huge of a deal.
Okay.
Something gets somehow.
okay,
All right, so here's my attempt, but okay, there we go. So it's gonna be a motion to recommend approval of the land development application filed by the Woodland Hills School District for the high school multi-purpose athletic field conversion, conditioned upon the following. Number 1, the gateway compliance with the gateway review letter dated November 6, 2024. Second, to maintain to the extent practical, all existing trees along the Greensburg Pike side of the property. Third condition is to replace or add/replace additional evergreen trees on the Greensburg side, Pike side of the property, in the amount, equal to the amount of trees that were removed by the applicant. What do you think?
The only difference is that we were talking about having to replace the trees they take out with like, trees. In other words, the tree is gonna have a big canopy versus an evergreen. For the ones they take out,
Right, so the same species of tree.
like, yeah, like trees, that could give them a little more space.
Okay. Like trees.
In other words, trees that have leaves and.
Yeah, right.
have
Create some
canopy.
shade.
Yeah. Like.
Yeah, I like it. So if that's the motion, I don't know which one of you two that motion to make, but someone new will need to second it.
I'll make that motion as you stated it.
Thanks, Mike.
I'll second.
All right. We just need to call for a vote.
Vote.
All in favor? All in favor?
And,
Aye.
okay.
Thank you very much.
Good luck with the project.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jason,
Appreciate your time.
Jason's keys away.
I think it's nice to have those improvements that are obvious, you know,
Yeah.
the people are going down. Kingsburg Pike, good thing.
Keep the place nice.
Yeah.
Keep it nice.
Yeah.
Make-
I'll put it
Making
there.
it a gem. Yeah, keep it pretty, keep it nice,
Yep.
keep people coming.
Right.
Everyone have a great evening.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I guess the next one is the,
I just want the minutes to reflect that Richard Kelly is.
oh, okay. Please note he doesn't have to be here on time.
Please note, when you're dealing with Parkway East, you never know what's gonna happen. It was backed all the way to town when I left.
Yeah.
We were just talking about when the bridge goes.
I was underneath the bridge over the weekend. It's
Yeah.
amazing the amount of work they've already started.
It's a huge, huge project.
Okay, moving on.
Madam Chair, before we get into the next three, which are, pretty much identical, can I just do a little kind of intro to make sure everyone's on the same page? So, the one that, we have three applications for conditional use approval to operate short-term rentals, classically, generically referred to as Airbnbs usually, but obviously there's other providers of that service. And so what happens for an application for conditional use is, obviously, you folks have filed your applications, you submitted your fees. There's been a public hearing that's going to be scheduled before Borough Council on December 2nd, starting at 6 p.m. We're gonna go back to back to back with all three of those, applications. And the reason you're here is because all conditional use applications, whether you're building an Amazon super warehouse or whether you're running an Airbnb, all follow the same legal process. And so tonight, really the question, that's gonna be before this planning commission is whether or not your properties are in compliance and your proposed operations are in compliance with the zoning ordinance. And I think you all saw, as part of the application package, essentially all those zoning requirements are spelled out very clearly there. And, kind of an interesting, somewhat unique, kind of component of this conditional use that's a little unusual from other conditional uses is a lot of these criteria are sort of operational requirements and limitations, not so much that you can come in here and prove that you're able to do it, but that, that if you get approved, you need to make sure that things like excessive noise, excessive, public services, things like that, that are all in there, that are all part of the criteria, that you're gonna be able to comply with all this. So I think a big part of tonight is going to be sort of making sure you understand what those commitments are. And then really, as I kind of flip through these, and maybe I'm missing something, but the only thing that really jump out to me is that you need to be able to establish that you have off-street parking at each one of these properties. And that the amounts of bedrooms that you're planning on renting are in compliance with the ordinance. And then if you're in a homeowners association, you have the permission of the homeowners association to operate this particular use. So, Madam Chair, with that said, we can probably call these in order. And then let these folks explain sort of what it is that they're planning at their particular property and, you know, make sure they understand what those requirements are, that they meet those requirements. And then after each presentation, if this planning commission believes that, the applicants are in compliance and understand that they need to comply with these regulations, then it would be appropriate to make motions to recommend approval. If not, motions to not recommend approval.
Okay. Thank you. And I guess the first one is, Churchill Road.
Yes, I think it's a typo too, it should be 335 Churchill Road.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Your application says 335 and this is 13. So we'll make a note of that.
Thank you. So I'll start by saying if it gets passed, you guys can all have a free night at my. No parties though, right? Yeah, so I mean, I don't know, if you guys want me to start or if you have questions.
Why don't you introduce yourself first?
Yeah. So I'm Patrick Murray. I live at 341 Churchill Road. We are residents since 2017 there. And yeah, it's my wife, me, and then our two kiddos and one on the way. So proud, Churchill residents. We bought this house this past year after, a long conversation of 2 years with me and my wife, looking into it. It was an old like neighbor of ours, obviously. It's, 2 doors down from us, 3 doors down. And, she had actually moved away. She had, gotten married and moved away. The house was neglected for 2 years straight. It was overgrown. There was actually a leak in the basement that had caused a big flood. Just severely neglected. So I reached out to her several times to try to like buy this property from her. She was resistant at first. We finally did. And have since obviously done a complete makeover at the property. And our goal was that my wife could quit her job when we had our second kid, and then she would run this as her business. So my wife's currently managing it completely. I'm just here because she's putting the kids to bed right now. But yeah, it's her gig completely, and we put all of our savings into it to make it an investment property for us, one that we can be close to as well. So it's not just like a portfolio add-on. It's our second house. So we have, you know, our first one and that one. It's actually a mirrored image of our house. So the same builder did it. So I knew exactly what I was getting into and all the headaches with the stone house and slate roof. But we are catering to families. So we have the whole thing set up with, you know, kids' toys, baby gates, everything. And that's the exact market it's catering to. And our intention with that is to continue that. We have strict rules of obviously guest limitations, parties, no smoking, like noise limitations, and no instant bookings is a big one we wanted to do for the borough, because there's a setting on Airbnb that you can just press, you can have instant booking on, you actually get more renters that way. We turned that off so that we can actually vet them and make sure they all have 5 stars whenever they're coming in. So we actually know the guests before they get there based off of their previous reviews. We offer substantial discounts for week stays and month stays. That way, they are, yeah, we're actually catering hopefully to like midterm rentals, which is, they tend to be more stable, renters at that point. What else? We paid, it's kind of a cool fact that this year in total, it's been over $6,000 in occupancy taxes, from Airbnb, which is kind of a cool thing. And the house, yeah, like I said, was neglected for 2 years. Now it has light and is vibrant. And has full service landscaping, full service HVAC. I mean, everything is now taken care of, whereas it was neglected prior.
Free parking?
Yeah, we have tons of off-street parking. Yep.
How many cars can you fit off street?
Strategically with good drivers, like 6, but no, probably like on average 4 to 5. It's a nice lot. Google Images probably don't do it justice. But if you drive by, you'll see it's all cleared out. We ripped out all the overgrown landscaping, none of the trees, those are all there.
Homeowner association? I don't think so. Right?
No, yeah.
Kevin, can you remind me what was our limitation on the number of days in the ordinance?
30 and less, 30 and
Okay.
less, yeah, is short term. Beyond that is sort of the regular standard lease that doesn't
Yeah.
require
Okay.
this process. And this is 2 adults per bedroom. How many bedrooms is it?
This has 3 like 4 bedrooms, yeah. 4 bedrooms and like another sleeping area there.
you understand the inspection requirement, the annual inspection requirement?
We didn't at first. I don't know if that was a new thing that was added on, but we do now. I believe it's once a year, we have to get an occupancy with Scott, I think is his name, at least as of now, and so. Totally happy to do that. We went through it with Scott the first time. He failed a couple of things. We fixed it. He came back the next day and passed it. So that's no problem at all. Moving on. Yeah.
Is it used now as an Airbnb?
It is, yeah. And there was a gray area. We actually didn't know that there were special requirements and we were being obviously public. We weren't hiding anything with that. And then he had emailed me with the cease and desist. We did that. He was super kind and came over like the next week, I think, or day, and got it like very quickly turned around for us. So we were very thankful for that.
Can I also editorialize that, you know, the ordinance, I think a lot of people were not aware of this ordinance, so that when the borough recently mailed out, you know, notices to folks who were operating them, I will say in true Churchillian fashion, of course, people actually filed applications here. I think that's where most of the other municipalities I represent, you'd never hear from these people again. They keep operating until you took action, but Churchill being Churchill, it's like, yeah, we want to get in compliance, and so I kudos to these folks for, you know, win, lose or draw, they're actually coming forward, admitting that they're operating and they're trying to get in compliance, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, I had noticed the operational date, so I appreciate that.
Right,
Yeah.
How long have you been operating it in?
I think February was when we started. Yeah.
And once we got Scott hired, I would say that the applications could come in like very quickly.
And there was some nebula around that when we first were talking a year or two ago. Like it was like, yeah, Churchill allows this, but and it wasn't really clear as what was happening. I said, let's get the help. They allow it, but
Do you walk over there to keep an eye on it?
we do actually. That's kind of nice. We have permission from the golf course as well to like walk back and forth that way or on the road. So my kiddos will come over and they help with the laundry and all the household tasks. But yeah, we frequently go there. We actually make it known to the guests that we are neighbors so that they know, like, we don't tell them where we live, but we make sure they know that we are in the area. So there's definitely like kind of like the panoptic gaze kind of going on. So
From the Google aerial view, it looks like there's a lot of trees there and it's kind of, it looks like it might be kind of hard to see in there unless you actually go walk over.
yeah, not at all. If you drive by now, you'll see we spent about $2,000 on tree work to get those low hanging limbs removed. So it's a lot safer for the house as well. And the shrubbery all in the front, there was ripped out. And it's actually a very clean look now.
Yeah, Google's views aren't always up to date.
Not at all, yeah.
Yeah.
Near Maps is a good one to look at.
Oh,
Near Maps is up to date.
Do that. So, what kind of, how do you, get clients? Do you do advertise? What kind of advertising do you do?
It's right now, we're just on Airbnb. We've entertained the thought of doing other platforms. Right now, it's just Airbnb, and then family friends are the best. So we obviously share on Facebook with our family friends, and we do have families stay there quite a bit as well. My wife's family's from Lancaster, PA, so they come out for Christmas, and we did a staycation this year for a week. So we actually use the house for personal use as well. There's a hot tub there, not at my house, so.
So your application indicated you had 3 bedrooms plus 2 rooms with fold-out sofas.
That's right.
So you could have like up to 10 people there with, what, 5 cars?
10 is what we have now. Yeah, that's what we allow, and no more we've rejected. Anyone who's like, I have one more guest, we just have a hard line there with that. So, and they respect it, which is great. But yeah, the most we've had was 10 guests and then I think 5 cars, and there was a wedding. They were getting ready for a wedding there and they didn't warn us at one point. So we actually did notify them and say, hey, it might alarm the neighbors. We do need to know if you're gonna have people over for photos and whatnot. They were receptive and they moved all the cars away. So again, we really do keep an eye on it. We don't want neighbors calling in and complaining and we're trying to beat everything right to the chase there. We did have someone who wanted to celebrate their 9-year-old birthday party and they asked for permission to do that. So we obviously granted permission to have a few of their friends over, which was about 5 people. So I thought that was nice.
So business is good?
At the Airbnb,
Yeah.
it's really, I mean, it is phenomenal. We're really thankful for it. It's
Regularly, pretty much regularly.
It's about 50% occupancy right now for us, yeah, and we didn't know what to expect, because our goal was if it didn't work out, we were gonna sell the home or turn it into a long-term rental. But my wife was really passionate about using that as a way for her to obviously replace her income, and then teaching my kids just really good household chores and jobs, so it's been a huge blessing to us.
Collecting stray golf balls?
Tons, yeah. My dog usually finds those first, but yeah.
Any other questions?
No.
Okay. Do we wanna go through each one?
Yeah, I think individually, so right now, if someone wants to do a motion to recommend approval of this conditional use application, that will be the time.
Okay. Anybody want?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I recommend that we, approve the short-term rental application, from Patrick, and is it?
Carissa.
Caressa, correct.
Okay, second? Anybody?
I'll second it.
Okay,
Oh, sorry. Or if you want to, that's fine.
all in favor?
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
See you on December 2nd at 6 P M.
To be here on December 2nd, 6 p.m. And then what's the expectation of, just so I know?
Something similar as to what you did tonight. There'll be a court reporter. Any additional documentation or evidence that you feel is helpful to kind of show what's going on there, it's up to you what you want to present.
Okay.
But again, you want to make sure that, you cover the criteria, so, you want to make sure that you're covering the number of bedrooms, number of guests, that you have off-street parking, that there's no homeowners association, get all that on the record, and then, shouldn't be more than 10, 15 minutes by something like that.
Okay, great. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda, I guess, is 2296.
Hello, everyone. My name is Olivia Clark, and I live at 2296 William Penn Highway, right next to the Volunteer Fire Department. I've been there like 6 years now. I retired from the Pittsburgh Public Schools and lived in Homewood, and I moved here about 6 years ago. And just this year in June, I opened up the downstairs portion of my house into an Airbnb. When I moved in, it was already an apartment there, bed, kitchen area, bathroom, all of that. But it was very outdated, so I updated it, and as of June 27th, I had my first guest. It's a 1-bedroom apartment area, just 2 guests, no children, there's no accommodation for that. I didn't have any off-street parking, so I made a parking pad last year as well. Started it and I finished it this year around June. It holds up to about 2 cars. We have a quiet zone from 11 o'clock at night to 7 in the morning. It has to be quiet. There's no parties, there's no social activities. It's just for them to stay there and they eat, so very similar to, and they get their information just like the gentleman before off the Airbnb. They go on that website and they look and see if that's accommodates what they want, and so that's what I've been doing since June 27th.
Where is this? Right
Right
here?
here next to the fire department.
Guarantee your parties. Okay, checking through the list, you did say your occupancy is limited to adults,
Yes,
close to a borough building and fire. No homeowners association, obviously, and your parking is off street.
yes, it's off street. And it's well lit. I had to do the same thing, take the trees down there because there was nowhere to park. And I think this gentleman here came up, didn't you come up with Rob? No, you did not, okay, you came up.
It was probably Scott.
My name is Scott, okay.
Way better looking.
Impossible. So, yes, because I was gonna put it on the front, but they said a lot of the wiring and all that runs through the front of the yard, so I took the bushes down and just put a parking pad on the left of the driveway. And so they have their own door to come in, and it's no communication, they don't have to come through my space and vice versa.
So it was what they would call in another generation, in-laws quarters.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It always had those safety bars, those
Yeah,
bars are all throughout, I left them there, so.
reduce liability.
Yeah,
So have you been operating as an Airbnb?
yes, I operate, and I'm retired, so I do all the,
How long have you been operating?
since June 27th of this year.
And how's business been for you?
Fabulous,
Really?
yes,
Good.
it's going really well. Okay. Just gotta get used to all that cleaning up, turnover is kind of interesting because managing that calendar.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's,
Okay,
But I was unaware too of that type of ordinance, so I got the letter and so I immediately filled out the application, brought my check down here because I have some property in Homewood too, but that wasn't the requirement, so.
You hopped in the car, drove over and dropped off your.
where we come from. Any other questions? All right, I'll make a motion to approve. Conditional use, anybody else? Second,
I'll second.
Thank you.
vote, and aye.
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 Okay. Thank you.
Same
very much.
second.
Thank you.
December 2nd, 6 p.m. All right. Thank you very much.
And last but not least.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Amalia Handler. Me and my husband own, 764 Margareta LLC. And we have a couple of properties around, Pittsburgh. And this is actually, we got this, so I do not need to book another Airbnb for me to stay to come and see what's going on in the properties over here, because we self-manage it. I live in New Jersey, so this is basically our second home. And I spend in the summer over here, and then I'm going back now in winter break for the kids. I'm gonna be here the whole time. So it's literally a second home for our family to be here, and we're using Airbnb to help pay the bills.
So when you're here,
Mhm.
you don't use it as an Airbnb?
No, I use it as my home.
Okay.
And it's family oriented, because I do not rent just a room, I rent the whole house, and I also have my games for kids and stuff like that. There's 3 bedrooms. And I have a family room with a pull-up couch, and then I also have a big basement. We put some games over there as well, and another pull-up couch as well.
Is that North or South Margaret?
South Margareta.
Okay.
When you're not here,
Mhm.
so I'm assuming you.
It's on Airbnb.
Okay, so you would have people here when you're in New Jersey.
Yeah, but not all the time. Like I have like 1 or 2 booking a month.
Okay. So who would be the emergency contact person who could get there when you're?
So I have a contractor that lives in I forgot the town. I'm sorry, my mom is,
It's around here?
yeah, he's around here. I have also another contractor that lives in Butler. If needed, can come down just an hour, depends on
It's
traffic.
just that there's no one named on your application.
It's mainly me, me and my husband, we manage it. If I need somebody like to come right now. So I have, sorry, I remember now, in East McKeesport, I have a contractor over there.
Okay, I don't know if we should have that on the application.
I don't, if that's needed, I can put his name, no
Yes.
problem.
So when you come to the hearing on December 2nd, just make sure you have that information.
Sure.
You can submit to council.
Okay, not a problem.
Yeah, it's a situation where the office staff, in the event of an emergency, would need to have that on file and know,
Okay,
exactly what to do.
Yeah.
To protect your own property as well.
yeah, so I have the guy that lives here in East McKeesport, and so it's, as you know, it's not that far.
Okay.
And I actually like it. We fell in love with Pittsburgh, so.
We're not surprised.
If I didn't have my business in New Jersey, I probably would move here with the kids.
Right, right.
Did you cover do you have off-street parking there?
Yes, I do. I have, at least 3 cars can park there with no problem.
So it says someone will be, you need to have somebody available 24/7 to accept calls.
Right.
And somebody needs to be able to be at the property in 30 minutes.
Yeah, so 24/7, I can get that call, and 30 minutes, like I said, my guy in East McKeesport.
We just need to have.
I will bring that name with me, no problem.
Yeah.
I can give it to you now if you would like.
The council meetings, Where you're gonna need that.
Here's the correct address on the application too. There's a north and a south Margaret.
Okay.
So.
Not a problem.
Okay, any other questions?
I have that.
No.
Good.
Okay. Motion to approve or deny?
Also moved.
I'll second.
Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's one clarifying thing, well, we just, you said there are three things, free parking, the occupancy per room or person per room, and what was the third?
I know the homeowners association,
That's right, that
yeah.
was it, okay.
What is the homeowner?
If you live in a plan, sometimes you have to agree to additional requirements and regulations, and some places will not allow you to rent, do short-term rentals. But you're not in a plan, you're. Maybe.
My last question is on loud, with the, I know we have 10, because we have 10 or 5 sleeping areas, do I need to clarify anything that those are not actual bedrooms for the court or for the council?
Yeah, I mean, I would, because I think as I read the ordinance, 2 adults per bedroom. So you may have an issue with that.
Okay.
Because I think if you're saying it's 4 bedroom, you probably should be limited to 8 guests, 8 adult guests.
Makes sense, okay, yep, cool. Unless we were able to make another bedroom in the house, right?
Right.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I move to adjourn. Second.
Second.
Anybody?
You know, 7?